Shell companies, government contracts, public money funding private crime. How many more tunnels were never found?
3:58 a.m. The winter storm doesn't arrive like weather. It arrives like an occupation. Snow comes sideways in hard sheets, driven by wind that turns highway signs into ghost shapes. The border road is buried. The trees are coated in ice so thick they look fossilized. Even the power lines sag under the weight. And in that silence, beneath the whiteout, something else is moving. A convoy of federal vehicles sits blacked out on the shoulder. Headlights off. Engines running low. The only light is the soft green glow of night vision and the dim red of instrument panels. According to federal sources, the warrant is signed, sealed, and time-sensitive. A joint task force, FBI, ICE Homeland Security Investigations, and DHS support, has one narrow window before the storm closes the roads completely. If the target disappears into the blizzard, it doesn't just escape. It vanishes. 4:01 a.m. Stack up. Boots crunch on crusted snow. Tactical gloves tighten on rifle grips. A breacher checks the charge one last time. The air smells like metal and diesel and frozen pine. The building in front of them looks ordinary. A low industrial facility half buried by drifts, a chain-link fence bowed by ice, a security camera crusted over and apparently dead. But nothing about it feels ordinary. No heat, no lights, no visible workers. Just a single steel door and the kind of quiet that makes trained men speak in whispers. 4:03 a.m. The first breach fails. The ram hits metal and bounces. Because this wasn't just a warehouse. It was a bunker. 4:04 a.m. A shaped charge is set. A hand signal. A half-second pause. Then the blast. The door buckles inward. A flashbang follows. White light, concussive shock, and suddenly the storm outside has competition. Agents pour in. Short commands. Tight angles. Muzzle discipline. A shout from inside, then gunfire. Not wild. Not panicked. Controlled bursts. The kind you hear when somebody has trained for this. 4:05 a.m. Federal agents. Down. A suspect sprints across a corridor and disappears through a side hatch. Another reaches for a rifle on a wall rack. Yes, a wall rack. Like this is a place where weapons are stored the way other people store tools. Two agents move. One covers. One advances. 3 shots. The suspect drops. Hands still trying to grasp a trigger that never fires. 4:07 a.m. In the first room they clear, the floor is wet. Not from melted snow. From condensation. Warm air meeting cold surfaces. Meaning something underneath is heated. Meaning something underneath is alive. A supervisor steps forward, finds a seam in the concrete, and scrapes away packed ice near a drain grate. His flashlight catches a thin line of steam rising. Locate access. 4:09 a.m. Behind stacked crates marked frozen produce, a forklift sits abandoned with keys still in the ignition. Next to it, a keypad mounted to the wall, covered by a cheap plastic flap. An agent peels the flap back. The buttons are worn. Not from occasional use. From daily use. A code is entered, pulled from Intel. The keypad beeps. A low mechanical groan follows, deep in the building. Then the floor shifts. A section of concrete slides away like a trapdoor. And the storm air rushes down into darkness. 4:11 a.m. Agents descend into a tunnel. The temperature drops instantly. Breath turns to fog. Ice glitters on the walls like glass teeth. The tunnel isn't rough and improvised. It's engineered. Reinforced supports. Electrical conduits. Ventilation. A rail system for moving weight. A drainage channel to keep it from flooding. And along the right wall, insulated piping carrying warm fluid. Heating. So the tunnel stays operational even in a blizzard. 4:13 a.m. 20 yards in, they find the first sign of human presence. A child's shoe. Small. Pink. Frozen stiff. Then a blanket. Then a cough, thin and weak, from behind a plywood barrier. An agent throws his light at it and sees a hand slip through a crack. Tiny fingers, trembling. 4:14 a.m. Medical. No. The barrier is ripped away. And what they reveal is not a stash. Not contraband. It's a holding pocket carved into the tunnel, like a waiting room for the invisible. 50 children. Some wrapped in foil blankets. Some in damp hoodies. Several barefoot. Their cheeks cracked from cold. Their eyes wide and hollow with exhaustion. The air reeks of urine, antiseptic wipes, and fear. A young boy tries to stand and collapses immediately, legs cramped from hours in a crouch. A girl stares at an agent's badge as if it's a language she's never seen before. In that moment, the mission changes. This isn't a raid anymore. It's a rescue under fire, inside a frozen underground artery. And that's when a radio call comes in from above. Secondary team found pallets. Large quantity. Possible narcotics. But what agents find next changes everything. If you want the full truth, hit like and subscribe the channel so this story reaches more people. 4:22 a.m. Upstairs, in the warehouse cold room, agents cut open a shrink-wrapped pallet. The first layer is legitimate frozen packaging. The second layer is not. Vacuum-sealed bricks. Uniform size. Uniform weight. Industrial grade. They open one carefully. White powder. Then another. Crystalline shards. Then a third crate, sealed differently, double-bagged, marked with a hand-drawn skull. A field test reacts instantly. Fentanyl. Forensic analysis revealed multiple drug types staged together, suggesting the facility wasn't just transporting product. It was consolidating and distributing it, like a wholesale hub built to survive weather, patrols, and time. And then the number comes across a supervisor's phone, estimated street value based on volume. $4.2 billion. It sounds like a headline until you translate it into bodies. The fentanyl alone, depending on purity and cutting, could be converted into millions of potentially lethal doses. Not users. Not addicts. Doses. As in, a single mistake. A single pill. A single night. Families across the region had been mourning for years. Now they knew why. 4:31 a.m. Back in the tunnel, agents move the children toward the stairs in groups. Medics triage with gloved hands that can't warm fast enough. For fluids are hung from makeshift hooks. Oxygen hisses softly. A child whispers one word to a paramedic, please. Not please for comfort. Please to not be sent back. And that's when the tunnel lights flicker. A distant metal clang echoes through the ice. Someone deeper in the system just moved. 4:34 a.m. A tactical team advances into the tunnel network. Their boots slip on ice. Their rifle lights cut through mist. The walls narrow, then widen, then split, 2 branches. A map on a seized phone suggests one branch leads north, toward a drainage outlet near a service road. The other leads south, toward the borderline. Court documents later show the tunnel had multiple exits, designed not just for smuggling drugs, but for moving people in bulk under conditions meant to break them. And along the wall, carved into frost with a knife tip, is a single symbol repeated over and over. A mark of ownership. A brand. 4:41 a.m. At the first junction, they find a steel door with a viewing slit. Frost seals the edges. A padlock hangs heavy, new and expensive. A breacher cuts it. The door swings open. Inside, a makeshift office underground. A folding table. A heater. A laptop in an insulated case. 2 sat phones. A stack of passports in plastic sleeves. And a ledger. Not names. Not at first. Just numbers. Dates. Route codes. And the same word repeated in the margins like a prayer. Clear. 4:44 a.m. Digital forensics. Begins immediately. The laptop is powered down, but the drive is intact. An agent bags it in an evidence pouch, fingers stiff from cold. According to federal sources, when analysts later cracked the encrypted partition, they found spreadsheets that weren't just logistics. They were accounting. Incoming product weights, outgoing shipments, losses, replacements. And then something that doesn't belong in a criminal ledger. A column labeled, Protection. Next to it, dollar figures. Next to that, initials. And one set of initials appears more than any other. The initials of a public official. Comment Winter if you believe he deserved justice. 5:06 a.m. As the last children are carried out into the storm, the sky begins to lighten. Gray, hostile, indifferent. Above ground, the blizzard intensifies. Plows can't keep up. Helicopters are grounded. Roads are closing. And yet, the operation expands. Because now the tunnel isn't just a rescue site. It's evidence. 5:18 a.m. A second team hits a nearby transport company listed on warehouse paperwork. The front office is clean, warm, professional. Smiling receptionist. Corporate logo on the wall. A framed mission statement about family values and community service. But behind a locked interior door is a server rack humming like a heartbeat. Agent sees hard drives, routers, and a safe hidden behind a motivational poster. Inside the safe, cash bundles wrapped in bank straps, multiple currencies, and keys tagged with warehouse unit numbers across 3 states. But what matters most is what's taped under the safe shelf, a thumb drive wrapped in plastic. Cheap. Disposable. The kind of device that holds confessions. 5:41 a.m. Forensic analysis revealed the drive contained encrypted messaging backups. Not just drug talk. Not just route chatter. Financial transfers. Crypto wallets. Wire instructions routed through shell companies with boring names: North River Imports, Arctic Freight Solutions, Blue Star Cold Storage. Companies that look like legitimate logistics. Because this network doesn't hide in alleys. It hides in paperwork. 6:12 a.m. Network mapping begins. Analysts pin addresses, timelines, and shipment records across a digital wall. A pattern emerges. Drug loads move during weather events, storms, fog, heavy rain, when enforcement visibility drops. Human cargo moves at night. Children move in winter. Because cold is a weapon. Cold reduces resistance. Cold reduces noise. Cold reduces escape. Silence became a weapon. 6:49 a.m. A third raid. A rental property near the interstate. Suburban. Quiet. The kind of place you drive past without seeing. Agents breach the door. Inside, space heaters running, damp gloves drying on chairs, and a whiteboard with shift schedules. Not a family home. A staging house. They find medical supplies, bandages, antibiotics, cough syrup. Then they find restraints. Zip ties in bulk. Duct tape. A portable radio scanner. And in a closet, children's clothing in mixed sizes, still tagged, stacked like inventory. Human life reduced to supply. 7:12 a.m. Digital evidence reveals a contact list labeled handlers. Under it, phone numbers grouped by state. Under that, another list labeled friends. And this is where the betrayal begins. Because friends aren't criminals. They're officials. A port inspector. A courthouse clerk. A local politician's chief of staff. A name tied to a judge's office. Court documents show the network wasn't paying for protection once. It was paying for protection as a subscription. Monthly. On schedule. Hit subscribe if you want to see the full network revealed. 7:48 a.m. At a federal command post, a senior agent reads out a detail from an intercepted message. Storm coverage approved. Lane cleared. Lane cleared. Not a road lane. A port lane. An inspection lane. A lane that only gets cleared by someone with authority. And suddenly that $4.2 billion haul stops being the biggest shock. Because it means the shipments that got through were bigger. And older. And protected. 8:23 a.m. The military enters the frame, not as a movie moment, but as a logistics reality. According to federal sources, National Guard resources are requested for emergency transport in the storm. High-clearance vehicles for extraction, portable heating shelters for triage, and aerial surveillance when the weather allows. Not to invade. Not to occupy. To keep children alive while the snow keeps falling. 8:57 a.m. In a temporary warming tent, Medics document injuries, frostbite, respiratory infections, dehydration, and something harder to chart, trauma. A child flinches when a zipper sounds like a sudden rip. Another refuses water unless the medic drinks first, because trust has been weaponized against them. 9:31 a.m. A separate investigative team pulls regional overdose data. The pattern aligns with the seized shipment routes. Communities near distribution corridors show spikes, waves of deaths that look random until you see the supply chain behind them. Every spike is a family. Every line on a chart is a funeral. And the fentanyl, again, translates into millions of possible lethal doses. Meaning, the rescue of 50 children is miraculous. But it's also a fraction of the suffering this network has already produced. 10:08 a.m. A breakthrough. Analysts decrypt a folder titled Winter OPS. Inside, tunnel maintenance logs, heater system diagrams, and a roster. Not just smugglers, supervisors, drivers, accountants, and one name highlighted in yellow with a note beside it. Do not touch. Connected. Connected. That's how corruption labels itself. Not innocent. Not guilty. Connected. Share this video so communities understand what was hiding. 10:47 a.m. Agents move on the connected person's property, an upscale home in a gated community. The storm has calmed for a moment, like the weather is holding its breath. They execute the warrant. Inside, clean furniture, family photos, a holiday wreath still hanging. And in a home office, a locked filing cabinet. The lock is high grade, the kind government offices use. Inside are documents that don't belong there. Port schedules, inspection staffing sheets, internal memos marked for official use, and a ledger of payments. Not cash, not obvious bribes. Consulting fees, speaking honorariums, vendor reimbursements. Forensic analysis revealed the payments were routed through shell companies tied to logistics contracts. Money disguised as legitimacy. This is institutional betrayal, not a rogue criminal. A gate opened from the inside. 11:39 a.m. The official is detained. Not in a dramatic chase. In a calm hallway, under warm lights, while snow melts off boots at the door. That's what betrayal looks like. It doesn't always roar. Sometimes it smiles and signs paperwork. 12:16 p.m. Now the operation widens across state lines. Storage units are hit. A second cold warehouse. A rural property with a disguised ventilation stack, proof the tunnel system may not be isolated. Each location yields more physical evidence. Weapons in sealed cases. Night vision gear. Thermal scopes. A crate of ammunition. This isn't just trafficking. It's militarized logistics, prepared to defend the pipeline. 12:58 p.m. Agents find a second underground chamber, smaller than the first, colder and empty. But it has hooks in the ceiling, and a drain, and scuff marks on the concrete. You don't need a confession to understand what happened there. 13:22 p.m. A final twist arrives from financial investigators. Court documents show one shell company used to launder proceeds also received government payments, small contracts, local grants, community development funds. Public money, feeding a private criminal network. The public didn't just suffer from this operation. In a way, they funded it. If this shocked you, subscribe the channel and comment Blizzard below. 14:10 p.m. And now we reach the reckoning. How the system allowed it. Border infrastructure strained until oversight became selective. Inspections reduced during extreme weather, creating predictable blind spots. Contracting systems treated vendors as trusted by default. Interagency intelligence moved slowly, siloed behind jurisdictions. And when whistleblowers spoke up, they were ignored, transferred, or warned. Silence became a weapon. Not because people were afraid to talk, because too many people were paid not to. 15:02 p.m. The philosophical truth is heavy. A society isn't only corrupted by criminals. It's corrupted when institutions trade responsibility for convenience. When connected becomes a status stronger than law. When children become cargo. When weather becomes cover. The blizzard didn't create this network. It exposed it. 15:49 p.m. Immediate consequences come fast. Arrests. Asset seizures. Emergency oversight orders. Audits of port inspection logs. Suspension of contracts tied to implicated companies. And the children, 50 of them, moved into care, each one now carrying a story that can't be erased by warmth or time. But there are lasting threats. Because networks like this don't die easily. They adapt. They reroute. They recruit. They exploit the next storm. 16:38 p.m. So here is the unresolved question the government now faces. How many tunnels were never found? How many shipments moved while the public watched snowfall and assumed the world above ground was the whole world? And how many officials used their titles not as shields for the public, but as keys for the cartel? 17:20 p.m. This wasn't just a frozen tunnel. It was a corridor of institutional failure. A pipeline built from concrete, cash, and complicity. A system that treated human beings as inventory and treated oversight as optional. And the most chilling part is this. It didn't require chaos. It required routine. Forms filed. Lanes cleared. Payments processed. Everyone doing their job, except the job they owed the public. 1800 hours p.m. This network survived because procedural blind spots became predictable, corruption hid inside legitimate contracts, and too many people stayed silent when they saw the pattern. If vigilance fades, if citizens stop demanding transparency, this can happen again. Stay informed. Stay engaged. If you believe no child should ever be treated as cargo, hit like. Comment this. What should happen to officials who cleared lanes for traffickers? Prison, lifetime bans, or both? Subscribe because this investigation is still unfolding, and the next tunnel, the next shell company, and the next connected name won't expose itself unless someone keeps watching.